Okay, so how to pass medical exams, medical finals. Now, this is going to be mainly for the UK guys, but if you're based anywhere else and use UK curriculum as well, or follow UK guidelines, then this will also be helpful. So let's get right into it. Number one, basic principles. Remember this, okay? First and foremost, you are a medical student right now, um, or not. You're just interested, so welcome to my video. But anyway, so you are a medical student and you are going to transition to becoming a junior doctor, foundation year one in the UK, or whatever it may be, the equivalent of anywhere else. And your medical school are not training you to be registrars or consultants, okay? They are training you to be junior doctors. That is the very first thing that you need to remember. They're not training you to become specialist immediately the moment you graduate from their school, all right? And that is what the governing body, like the General Medical Council in the UK, will also want. That is the aim. So the key thing to remember here is that you need to get to the stage where you are able to manage common and important conditions safely, start the basic investigations and management plan, recognize your own limitations, and call for help when it is needed. Those are the main things that you need to do. You don't need to diagnose some fancy syndrome or come up with the cure for cancer. That is not what you're trying to do at medical school, and that is not what your exams will be based on. That is the very first tip that I can give you. And everything else that you do, all your work on reading, all your exam practice with OSCEs, which is clinical examination practice in the UK, will need to be based on this very first principle. Okay? Right. Let's move on to the next one. Number two. Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule. Now, some of you may have heard of this. Basically, Pareto was a great, he was a great guy in the sense that he recognized that a lot of things in life happen in this kind of ratio, where 80% of a certain outcome is from 20% of a certain input, okay? So for business, for example, 80% of the sales that you achieve from a business are from 20% of your clients. Okay, so similarly, I think it applies to medical school exams as well. And most exams and most things in life, in fact, I think. So 80% of the things that they will ask you will be based on 20% of the content or topics that you will have covered or will be expected to know as doctors. Okay, so that is very important. That is key to passing the exams, I think. And that's what you need to base your preparation around as well. All right. So, for instance, now let's give you an example. If your examiner asks you what is the management for acute kidney injury and what are the causes, it's no good telling them that, I can tell you the genetic inheritance for Huntington's disease or what DNA polymerase does. Nobody cares, actually. If your patient has got acute kidney injury, your knowledge for Huntington's disease and DNA polymerase is not really going to be very helpful, is it? You need to get on it, basically. That's key. So that's a point I'm trying to get at. Focus on the important and the common, and make it solid, so solid that there is no way you're going to forget, or a lapse of memory will affect it. Okay, so number three is books. So revision books. Bear in mind, these are not sponsored. I'm not getting anything, okay? So I'm just here to help you. So I hope you find this helpful. Number one is Royal Society of Medicine's Get Ahead series. I found the one on medicine particularly helpful, which looks like this. And the next one that I used is a series of books by Pass Test. Past Test. It's a company on medical revision, basically, and they produce a series of MCQs and single best answer books, which I'm actually struggling to find on Google. They must have updated the versions, so you can just find them online or from your library. But basically, they should be at the level for medical schools. And those I found very helpful. Also, I used my own notes for the exams, which I had made throughout medical school, particularly during my third and fourth years of medical schools. And I didn't make any further notes of my own in finals. I just used them and I was completely fine. Where did I make these notes from? I got them mainly from these two books, which I found extremely useful. The very first is what I call the Holy Grail, which is very much loved, Cheese and Onion, the Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine. I absolutely love this book. This was the very first book that I paid for at medical school. And to this day, I feel that it was my best investment at medical school. And the second book is the large Kumar and Clark book, the main book. Now, of course, this is just for reference. You absolutely don't have to memorize everything in this massive book. It's a reference book. What I'm saying is that these are both reference books, but if you don't have your own notes, then I would strongly recommend reading especially the Oxford Handbook and using that as a resource. Speaking of recommendations, guys, have you tried this stuff? Butterkist toffee popcorn. I discovered this the other day and I can't keep my hands off it. It's really good. I mean, no wonder I can't lose anyway. Hi. We digress. Number 4, buddies. Your friends are extremely important in medical revision, believe it or not, especially when you are preparing for your clinical exams, which are called the OSCEs in the UK. They are vital. I'm not just making a suggestion. It is vital that you have 1, 2 or more friends that you can practice with. The more the better, because different people will be able to give you different levels and qualities of feedback that you can then use to improve yourself. And you can do the same for them. It's a two-way thing and it is extremely helpful. Also, you will benefit from different resources that different people are using. And this I found extremely helpful to have friends to practice with for OSCEs. Now, I'm saying OSCEs specifically because I am the sort of guy who doesn't really like doing any reading or studying for theory, for knowledge purposes with other people. I do that in my own time, in my own ways, from my own notes, okay? But when it comes to practice, like taking histories, examinations, clinical procedures, all of that you need another person at least, and that I find extremely helpful to do it with someone you know. Okay? Alright, that's number 4. Let's move on to the last and extremely important point: consistency and breaks. Now, you need to be extremely consistent when you are working for your finals. Work on your weaknesses. Don't shy away from them. Do regular practice so that they no longer are your weaknesses by the time the exam comes. You will find that you feel so much more confident and you know exactly what to do in what situation, what to say, and how to tackle things, even if something's out of the blue comes up, okay? And because you will have done so many, you will have done hundreds of practice sessions with your friends. Consistency is vital, I would say. However, just as important are breaks. Breaks during the day when you are doing the practice and during the entire process. You need to have certain breaks so that you can refresh what's inside here and completely switch off. I used to do it with films. I loved films, so I used to watch a shit ton of films. Sorry about the language, but I'm just saying. I used to watch loads of films, and I loved it. I probably watched more films during my final year than all of my years combined before that, because I was taking enough breaks to reset my mind so that I was fresh enough to come back to all the revision and focus hard. And remember that this is actually a process, it's a journey. I would strongly recommend that you enjoy it, because this is one of those times where I have fond memories of medical school. And whether you like it or not, it is going to end. Before it'll be over, and you will have wanted to enjoy the process. Really, these are days with your friends that you'll never get back. So have fun, enjoy it, and let me know what your own methods are. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't believe in courses. I went to one when I was in medical school in my finals. That's because I was, like everyone else, was desperate and didn't want to miss out on things. But in retrospect, I don't think it added much value to my own exam outcome or my clinical practice either. I feel that if you do enough practice and do your own work, there is no need for courses at all, basically. That's the bottom line. Anyway, so I'm just going to say that if you have anything to share on what I've said, drop me a few lines, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe to that button there. It's red, and click the bell icon. And I will be on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is coming right up. If you missed my videos, the first two ones, see them right here. See you.